episode of The No Particular Reason with your host, Kerri Lewis, alongside the amazing one and only Yanko. And we are here for episode 114 of For No Particular Reason, where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing in between. And I'm super excited to be having this conversation with you all who are watching and Yanko today, as it lifts my spirits and brings me a lot of joy to be here. So what's poppin', Yanko?
Same. I'm very excited. We haven't been able to do that for a while. There was a couple of times when there was issues with the system. Streams were not going to Facebook, Instagram, and we're just like, we're just gonna chill, drink some coffee, and move with life. Whatever life brings us. But I'm really glad to be back and vibe with you guys. So yeah, let's get this show going.
Let's get this show going. Well, it's so interesting. So earlier today, I had driven into Worcester to get my daughter her haircut, which, side note, me and my daughter cut my hair because I couldn't get a hold of my hairdresser. And I got to say, I did a better job than my hairdresser. So I'm going to cut my own hair from now on. But anyway, besides that, so I was driving in and I happened to talk to this amazing gentleman, Fidel, who has a podcast himself. And he's like, I haven't been feeling it lately, but it's so interesting how so many people like you still doing your podcast. And what I shared with him, what I'll share with you is we show up when we're meant to show up, and it is what it is. And that's the gift of flow, is being okay with what is, even when it doesn't look or feel the way we want it to be.
That's exactly right. And this is why we got to that episode.
I just had a total fucking epiphany. I'm like, wait a minute, I get to be tired. I'm supposed to be tired. So for context, listening audience, I was just telling Yanko, it's been a long 7 years of like transformation for me. Like I've really stripped apart my ego several times over in the 7 years. And today I'm like, I'm so tired. And then I just realized, going in with the same analogy around the podcast, I get to be tired. I don't have to be anything but.
Exactly. I mean, and this is why the show, it's called For No Particular Reason. We just show up when we're inspired. We don't have any set topic. And that in some circles in marketing will say, oh, you don't know you're gonna get in, like people won't know what to expect, and we're perfectly fine with that.
Hell, you and I don't even know what to expect.
Exactly.
With each other and everything else. But I also think that this habit of expectation, right? My expectation of moving through Kundalini experiences creates suffering, because then there's a specified outcome that we have in our mind, and when it doesn't happen, we judge it as not good. And that's I mean, that's my ego's habit. I do it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, the more you realize it and the more you stay in it, you realize that it takes you out of the present, of the now, and you're living in some kind of made up reality where you either thinking about the future or you're pondering on the past, and you're not present. It's a thief. Takes the joy out of everything. Yeah.
Absolutely agreed. So what's popping in the world of Yanko? Hi, baby.
It's just like happening, nothing particular, nothing. It's just I'm kind of like the show. I show up in life. Whatever happens, happens. I enjoy it or don't enjoy it. It doesn't really matter. I got to witness it. That's the word I'm looking for. I got to witness it. Yeah.
Well, you can witness me looking up the password for Billy, because she needs Nana's Wi-Fi password. So
that's fine.
You can share that, and
There you go. You dropped off for a second, but you're back, which is
I'm
fine.
back in the saddle again. Mm-mm.
So yeah, in just for the listeners and whoever it's watching, we had a little conversation before we started. Lately, I've been experimenting with Indian raga music, which it's supposed to bring you some joy and move some feelings inside and inspire some feelings, and that's the latest in the world of Yanko. You know, going in walks and just being present and having music create emotions in this body, and so that the observer can see and enjoy.
So you influence young people, and I won't go into anything further than that out of respect, but what are your thoughts on encouraging young people, like little ones, to feel their feelings regularly, both females and males?
I mean, I think that will an ultimate way will create a more self balance, self emotional balance being when he grows up in being able to express itself fully in every moment, instead of having to wear some kind of mask where they are not allowed to express their feelings, emotions, or whatever they're feeling like in the moment, or
Yeah.
pretending to be somebody else.
I love that.
Because
Well, I was at the hairdressers earlier, as I mentioned, and
mm,
there's a little girl. She's like 1.5, 2 years old. I love her, but she was angry, and I was talking to her, and she's just very angry, and I loved it. I was like, I
the,
love that you feel safe enough to express being angry, and
right,
you're not appeasing, me by just putting on a smile because I'm trying to cheer you up.
yeah. Not only that, but usually when something like that happens, certain people might say, "Well, you're not supposed to, make me look bad in front of people by throwing a tantrum and crying or whatever you're doing, or don't you dare crying," and just looking at them in the face, and they're just like, almost. And I've seen that kind of stuff happening too.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
that brings me to a point. So I was talking to an individual yesterday, and I can't say I was surprised by this, but it so this individual works within a company, and they
mm,
all had table meetings to discuss, the things that they felt were going well with the company and the things that they felt needed work and whatever. And so this individual discussed how the delivery of like communication can be super aggressive. And the chief officer of this company was like, well, we just need to understand that some people are sensitive, and essentially they have to deal with the fact that um you know this person's a human, and basically not take it personal. And everybody in the room agreed with this chief people officer. And I challenged that to this individual. I said, absolutely not. That is the antithesis of, I think, how we do good business. We do have a responsibility to be mindful of how we deliver things, because everybody has emotions and they're bringing things in. And it's not okay to just, oh, you're having a bad day, so you can be super aggressive and treat people poorly because you're having a bad day. And we justify that in the workplace often. And the other thing I shared with this individual, and I really believe this, is I look at the culture now, like my daughters and the kids coming up who are already much more aware, like they
mm.
have a higher level of consciousness. There's no way in 10 years that response will be accepted, because it's not okay to just, oh, yep, you're too sensitive. You essentially have to get over it. Absolutely not. I have every right to have an expectation that you communicate to me in a way that's respectful and mindful of the fact that I'm an individual.
Well, that goes with the story what they were saying, and I'm gonna share it quickly, and then I'm gonna move on to what I'm thinking of it is like. you know, one of the monks was asking other, like, if you hold a cup of coffee or tea and somebody bumps into you, what's gonna, what makes it spill or whatever. In most of the people were saying, well, it's the people that bumped into the person that spill, and it spill, and that's why it spilled. But then he said, well, it spilled tea because he had tea inside, not because somebody bumped into it. So it goes the same with um, businesses. If the business have that insight, its structure and how it's built, that's how it's going to portray itself outside to the world as well. And then people will either choose, mindful people will either choose to do business with this kind of type of business or not do business with this kind of type of business. And that ultimately, it's going to move businesses in a way where, they're going to be more mindful of their customers, because if there's no customers, there's no business. Yeah,
Well, and the
businesses
thing
are,
is, and
yeah,
Hazir, I will speak to your comment momentarily, but what I was saying is, it took me a while to understand this because I was in survival mode. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I was a empathetic manager for the beginning of my career, because I certainly wasn't, but I kept learning to work on that. And what I realized was, as I created a culture that felt safe, where people could communicate and have tough conversations and sit in the messy middle to come to a happy medium, instead of this, passive aggressive or aggressive delivery of messages, the company was way more profitable because I never had to worry about my people. My people were passionate about what they did because they enjoyed what they did, because they were in a great workplace. And so this is where companies are going to have to become emotionally intelligent. And we see it, right? The younger generations aren't tolerating bullshit. If you treat me poorly, I'm stepping out and going elsewhere. And that is inherently where I see, you know, are the companies that are successful going, right? So I agree with you. To his ear, thank you for commenting. First off, I really, really appreciate it. But more than that, I I feel pretty strongly that nobody deserves to be treated poorly. Now, do I have implicit bias? Absolutely. And am I human, and do I have to catch myself in an experience? 100%. But that is where awareness is the gift that I have, is that I can recognize that maybe I'm operating from an unconscious belief of fear and then make a different choice. But to a different degree, the energy I send out has to come back to me. So if I treat people poorly, even like unconsciously, then that energy has to come back to me. So if people treat me poorly, I ask myself, what am I sending out into the world that's causing me to get excessive negative energy back? Sometimes I've done nothing and it's just the encounter I'm in, you know, it's the karma that I created from decades ago and I'm just like flushing it out. But other times it's because how I responded to something is coming back to me, and I'm very, very aware of that. And I take ownership of that. So, but I don't think anybody should be treated poorly, regardless of income, status, addiction issues. It doesn't matter, like anything,
right.
everything.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because um, we're in a shared reality, and we shared reality with other people. And so you're going to encounter people that are going to reflect back to you and share your part of the reality that you're encompassing, because we're sharing it. At one point, when we're meeting other people, we share their reality. So, if they're in that place, like you said, it could just be something that you had to experience from previous lives, or something that you had to, like, encounter and just process. And other times it's just you're there to just be there because you're there. It's a shared reality. There doesn't it doesn't have to have any particular reason to be there in for that, whatever unfolds to unfold the way it is. You just have to use that gap in between the observer and the mind instead of jumping into whatever your mind throws at you, and reacting instead of and deciding if you want to react, or you just, because you do deserve the right to hold your opinion and not even respond or do anything. You don't have to in every situation.
Well, it's so
So
interesting. So there's a couple things to that. So has there, I mean, DBT is great, but the reality is I don't see us doing rapid eye movements and going into every corporation. What Yanko suggests is much more practical and something that anybody can incorporate. It's breath work. Because the more you learn breath work, if you do 30 seconds of breath work every day, it's kind of like driving a car. In the beginning, it's cumbersome. But after a while, your automatic response to a situation where you would have reacted previously is to breathe, and then you can respond and make a more informed choice. And to what you were saying, Yanko, you can decide to respond or not, entirely up to you. And I'll use a really good example. So Nana, right, caught hate the other day because somebody created a flyer for him using AI. Now, Nana's choice was to respond. He responded from a place of love. He was not aggressive, but he was like, listen, I asked people to make a flyer. If you want to make one not using AI, feel free. I'd be grateful. And that individual actually did. So shout out to them. For me, I catch hate on social media. People tell me I look like a boy. They say I'm inappropriate because I make totally what some people feel is obscene content with Nana. And I don't respond at all, because why do I care? Like, I'm still having a good time being who I am. So I just choose to let them have their opinion and not respond. So we get the choice. Nana responds and he chooses love from his place that feels good. And I don't respond and I choose love from my place that feels good. But we both are mindful that, you know, how we respond will directly impact what comes back to us too. So Nana, instead of responding from a place of anger, even though people were very aggressive with him, he responded from love and got love back, and I don't respond. So
it's like being in an amusement park, you're gonna like some things that other people don't like, and you're gonna use some rides that make you happy, and some people won't. The same thing. We all share the same reality, and like I was talking earlier, we, share experiences. And again, you don't have to have an opinion for everything. Sometimes you don't have to share, or you know give your 2 cents, like some people say. You can just
so
totally be.
Hazir, I'm gonna read this. So empaths, we need training on how to expel and prevent negative energy from compromising our mood and 100%. Shout out to you. I totally agree. Here's the thing. There is endless tools out there for that, right? From tapping to breath work to grounding to, I mean, endless tools to what Yanko was sharing about raga music. But the reality is it really does come down to being present as much as you can throughout the day, because that presence will give you information about that belief within yourself that is causing
Mm.
your mood and energy to be influenced. And listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've had this conversation with Yanko. I spent years doing all these practices to zip up my energy, to protect my energy. I did meditations, I did
Bubble around you.
all of it.
Call the
Total,
fairies. Do
I'm sorry, guys,
everything.
it's total bullshit, right? Because energy is around you. You are absolutely influenced by energy. It's that. Do you have the ability to distinguish the difference between your energy and somebody else's? And that's
Yes.
what I ultimately had to learn, because I could be cool as a cucumber. I walk into a room full of anxiety and my shit is popping
Ex-
off, and I'm like,
exactly.
but now I know it's not
Exactly.
my energy. So then that's when, to your point, his there, like, whether it's DBT, you do eye movements, you do tapping, you do breath work, you remove yourself from the situation. The control lies in you doing what feels right for you, so that you're not absorbed in what does not feel good for you, you know? Yeah.
I'm gonna share a different perspective because I've been there too. Like I'm empathic in a way. I don't know if I can be
I think
like in
we
a level
all
of
are.
in a level of a woman, because women, everyone experience everything differently. So I don't know. There could be more empathetic than men. I don't know, but I've been in situations when I'm in a room and somebody's having a panic attack, and I'm totally feeling it, and I know it's not my panic attack, or it's just a panic attack that is happening, so I don't have to claim it and say, oh, I'm having a panic attack. I'm just recognizing it and I'm looking for the source of it, and I can go and say, hey, you having a panic attack? And they go like a little bit. So my point, what I'm trying to make is that you sit with everything because ultimately you're that observer that's hiding behind your eyes, that's looking through and feels the feelings and sees the world and everything that unfolds. And again, you don't have to clean it out or push it out or react in any way, because it's like reacting towards the current. The more you struggle against it, the harder will be to, process that. Emotion, it's energy in motion. It'll move through. And
Yep.
you don't have to do anything. You don't have to. And that's why I was laughing earlier when Kerri was saying that, oh, you got to do this bubble around, clean up, all these things. Sure. In some greater level that applies, because energy can stagnate, and if you're in places when they have a lot of stagnant energy and all those things, that can be overwhelming. But for the most part, it's like, you walking down the street, there's maybe a party, there's loud music, it bothers you, but as you walk down the street, you pass the party and everything, it's gone and doesn't bother you anymore. Usually it's just what it is. That's how I handle it personally. I don't struggle to change it. I don't chase any kind of special emotions or highs or lows or anything. It's just, it is what it is.
Well, so, um, okay, so to his ear, like, again, I get what you're saying, and if that feels good for you, not to like to practice not absorbing other people's energy, certainly. But the reality is, I 100%. I've been doing this for 31 years. Like, this work for 31 years. And if you learn a trick that I haven't learned, hella drop in my DM and share it with me, because we do absorb other people's energy. It's just, to Yanko's point, the real awareness is recognizing it's not yours to take on. Like, for example, I guess the best way for me to explain this is, I'm a mother, right? I have two daughters, and one of my daughters is a more reactive individual, and so she's constantly stressed out, like stressed out. So if I walk in her room, there is an inherent high level of anxiety there, and I feel it, but I know that it's not my anxiety. And so I sit with her, I engage with her, I love her to pieces, but I can sit with her. I know it's not my stuff, and so I can sit with it. And I had to learn that, because before I would walk into rooms, I didn't know what I was feeling versus what anybody else was feeling. Now, if I walk into that same room and I'm not grounded. So I've had a tough morning and I didn't ground myself and I'm not feeling peaceful, then our anxiety meshes together. That could be really messy. So it's more about learning yourself and how to ground yourself or move through emotion comfortably without feeling like you're taking on somebody else's. Secondly, you put up that I didn't show. Girl, I'm with you. I'm 46 years old and perimenopausal. Nobody told me like these hot flashes, these like basically being the most loving person to wanting to take my hand and like chokehold you. That's like real stuff. And so it's recognizing that we are moving through hormonal changes in this human body and giving yourself grace. Like that's again for me, I do the things that I can control. I work out because physical fitness is a way to release some of that stagnant energy.
Yep.
I take magnesium and creatine because those are two things that have been found after I've done endless research and from having experienced it myself that have mitigated hot flashes and restlessness at night. So I do the things, but at the end of the day, like my hormones are fluctuating, and if I'm emotional, all I can do is honor that experience, much like Yanko said, in terms of um the fact that like we're having a human experience for a reason, and that means it's not always supposed to be happy and go lucky. We're gonna feel that angst. So all right, so hang on, I'm trying to keep.
Here is another perspective I'd like to give. Um,
Don't give me a perspective on perimenopause, Yanko.
no, no, no. That's
Okay.
nothing. That's not an area of my expertise.
I was
I'm
like,
not in
because
that
I'll
kind
be
of
I'll be
body.
I'll
No,
be saying something.
no. I wanted to say it before you even brought it up because you covered 2 points that they were asking about, and I had it after the first point. So let's say, because I don't know what their belief system is, but let's say that everything it's oneness and you're part of the oneness, and when you're part of the oneness, um, when you separate yourself and you close yourself down, you close your heart because you don't want to be hurt and you're afraid of something happening. First of all, for one, that automatically lowers down your vibration because now you're living in fear, you're not living in love or whatever you are, because you want to protect yourself. And second, you separate yourself from your environment, from your surrounding, and now you're no longer part of the whole, but you're part of the whole. You're meant to move with the whole and feel whatever the whole it's moving. Kind of like if the wind blows this way, the trees are moving that way and the other way around. So that's what I wanted to brought up and talk about.
um Yes, I agree with you. Sorry, I'm trying. The comments are coming in hard and fast on Instagram, and me and Yanko really appreciate you guys
Yeah, we
engaging.
love it. You
Thank you.
guys do share.
It's
Yeah.
taking me a minute to stay on top of them and process what Yanko was saying, but I do agree with you, Yanko. We are part of the collective whole, and you and I have talked about it in the past where we've said both of us, and I even said this to Nick last week. I could totally disappear in the woods and be gone. Like if
Mm.
I wasn't a mom, I really do believe I would have dipped out of this like experience I'm having right now and just been a hermit in the woods. But we are part of the collective whole. And so the gift, I believe, is that we are able to learn ourselves to give of ourselves to the collective whole by being immersed in the collective whole, because I'm not going to be triggered by the woods. I am going to be triggered by being in my daughter's room with her energy, and I'm going to feel dissonance in my body, and then I can get curious about what's coming up for me in my own work so that I can learn myself more deeply. So there's that. um with regards to Gina, so I'll be curious to hear what you have to say on the comment that's up right now. But this is what I would say to you. And I don't know where you are with your own journey. talk is cheap. And I'm not saying that to you, I'm saying this to everybody. I work with so many kids and I do a lot of education, but guess what? It is very difficult for me to make uh, headway with kids when their parents don't embody the work themselves. I've worked with kids who struggle with addiction. I've worked with kids with mental health issues. I've worked with kids whose parents are caretakers. And the parents will be like, oh, don't struggle with addiction. Meanwhile, they're chugging a bottle of wine at night. Their parents will be like, oh, don't put your other people's needs above your own. Meanwhile, they're overextending themselves at work, with their significant other, with their kids, and expecting their kids to believe that they shouldn't try to save everybody. And I can tell you this because I do it every day. My children have broken a lot of the generational behaviors that have been embedded in my family's belief systems because I embody a different way of being. I'm not perfect. I go back to my old habits. I'm certainly not above leaning into what was familiar for me. But because I'm constantly showing up differently, I'm constantly setting boundaries with my kids around mom taking care my mom before she takes care of her kids. And I'm gonna give you a real tangible example. I planned one party in my life. It was my first daughter's first birthday. I fucking hated it. It was hell. I was never going to plan another party in my life. I have not planned a party for the past 18 years in my kids' lives. My daughter wants a graduation party. She's like, "Mom, I want a graduation party." Awesome. Plan it yourself. Mom, but plan it yourself. It's not that I don't love you. I know what brings me joy. I don't want to plan a party. I will show up. I will help you that day, but I'm not planning it. And that is what people need to understand. It's okay to not do all the things that all the other parents do for your kids if it doesn't feel good. And that's how you teach kids not to take care of everybody else and try to save them, because you don't try to do the thing that doesn't feel good for you, even if it's with regards to your kid. What are
Yeah,
your
I
thoughts,
mean,
Yanko? Because that was a
I'm
long.
right. I'm right with you. My thing is, I'm thinking that if you say yes to everything, then you know would mean anything, you know, because just like no, but it's like, oh, okay, well, let's do it, and you like, you know, 15 minutes later, you're saying yes to the same thing you said no the first time around. You know, it's just, uh, yeah.
Yep. Um, I'm just reading the comments. There's so many. I'm just gonna read them out loud, and then you can, instead of
Yeah,
putting
go
them.
ahead. I mean, we're gonna make a disclosure. Usually, if they're coming through Instagram,
Right,
they're
his
not
ear.
popping up
Okay, I learned that
automatically.
finally, but literally it took me till my last year, and I'll be 43. I'm not sure what that. Then she talks about Urshi, Blue Kohosh, and ashwagandha has helped you. I love ashwagandha. I'm not familiar with the other two supplements, but feel free to drop in my DM and share. Um, some guy do understand, and I'm learning that too. I'm not sure what that means. You can, this too shall pass, preach. Okay.
Yeah.
Breathe and chant and ignore, put on the shelf and pivot. I really want that, but the government is hell-bent on destroying homeless people. So where can I go to be a hermit safely? Listen, Hazir, I have somebody that I work with who travels the country, and she shares a lot of insight around all the rules and regulations for parking a van and stuff. So while I don't have firsthand knowledge, I do have somebody who informs me a lot of the things that they face choosing to live a lifestyle that is not typical of the average American. So I can appreciate that challenge. And I would just encourage you to keep finding ways to honor yourself and what feels right for you, because our superpower lies in our unique individualism. And then, right, and I'm getting there myself too, but sometimes I don't know how to say no, and I have to reinforce myself on this again because, like my new partner, I don't want to say no to him. Oh, Yanko, go ahead, because you know I can spit facts on this one, but I'm gonna leave this to you right now.
I mean, you gotta honor yourself. Why are you there if you want to constantly say no? Like, just is it something that it's mental, some kind of idea that you have, or is this really the truth? Ask yourself that question. Like, is this like why am I even staying in this relationship? Like, what keeps me there? If you constantly want to say no to things, yeah.
Well, no, okay, this is where me and you were gonna vehemently disagree. Um, because I don't think it's about that. So I'm gonna give you a real example that I encountered recently. Um, an individual is in a relationship with somebody, they love this person a lot. But this person doesn't know how to say no, so overextends themselves. And this individual, loving them, has a hard time seeing the person they love overextended. So this individual shared with this person, you get to be in a place where you can't say no, but I don't have to watch you struggle because of it. Right? I get to stay home and you can go handle the situation that you aren't ready to say no to, because I don't want to continuously after a year see you struggle with the same dynamic. That doesn't mean that that person doesn't love their partner. It's just that that person also has to honor what feels good for them. And if not watching their partner struggle over the same issue over and over and over again feels good for them, they inherently should honor themselves by staying home. Using a personal example, Nana doesn't go to funerals. Nana's my boyfriend, for anybody who doesn't know. We've been together almost 6 years. He is my best friend, ride or die. He has my back, legit. But I know damn well he's not going to a funeral with me, right? Does that mean he's not supportive if I, lose somebody or whatever? No, I can certainly go to his house. He will hold me and let me cry, but he doesn't want to go to the funeral. He has every right to honor what feels good for him. And I get to do what feels good for me. So if it was so important for me to have a partner who goes to funerals with me, maybe he's not the person, but I don't give a crap. And so it's knowing what feels okay for me, him honoring what feels okay for him, and knowing that together, because we honor our own needs collectively, we feel really, really good with each
Right.
other. Yeah.
I mean, I was talking more in general, where you like every other thing. It's because sometimes my observation is that when you meet somebody, they put up their best mask. They come up with their best self, and then as the relationship deepens, then you start to find out things about the real mask behind the mask, because there's different levels of the masks people wear, and then you realize that there is a total disconnect, and that's what I was talking about, not
Oh,
just
yeah.
like little
That's different.
situations here and there. Yeah.
So I'm gonna read these because I'm having issues pulling it up now. Some guys know about perimenopause. I've learned from 3 different guys about perimenopausal issues and understanding it better now because of them. Shout out. I mean, that goes to communication.
Okay,
Nana has
cool.
no clue about perimenopause because he's a guy and he's 37. I'm 46, but he certainly will hear me and he doesn't judge me when I'm messy. I mean, not for nothing, but I was at the gym the other day. No joke, guys. I'm doing shoulder presses, and I just start sobbing. Just sitting there at the bench sobbing. I let myself cry because I honor my feelings, and he was let me sob. Didn't try to change my experience afterwards. I said, "Can I have a hug?" He said, "Yeah," and then I went back to do my shoulder presses, and it all happened in the span of 3 minutes, and I went from pumping weight to crying to pumping weight, and then we went on about our day, and that's him holding space for me. I need to say no to some things that he tells me to do that I know are going to make me miserable. It's boundaries, and I have to, it's not negotiable. Shout out. Because when we do something that doesn't feel good, that doesn't honor us, we're teaching our subconscious that we're not worthy. People don't realize that, but we operate from like Many people operate from like 90% of learned behaviors and beliefs about themselves. And the only way to change those beliefs is to do what feels good for you in this moment. And it will pivot and change your subconscious programming. But if we just keep doing things to keep the peace or to make our significant other happy, then we aren't honoring ourselves and we're reinforcing old patterns of belief systems in our subconscious that really don't serve you unless you want to keep having that same experience over and over again.
I
And then
mean,
last, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was just gonna
Lastly,
say. Go
let me read this and then you say it.
ahead.
Hazir says, I'm going to make that my new pension, your pen chant. We're going to honor our own happiness together and persevere. Shout out. Okay, that's you, Yanko.
I was gonna say, usually depends on which way you're developing yourself. If you are in the way of becoming somebody, then that'll be in conflict with losing part of yourself because you're going against your principles. But then, if you're on the path of like dissolving your mask or whatever you're wearing, because first of all you have to become somebody to become nobody again, then that won't apply. So it all depends on which way you're moving in becoming somebody or becoming nobody.
Well, clarify that because you got me confused. And so I understand what you're saying in terms of the dissolution of ego, right? You're
That's
saying
right.
that in
That's yeah, that's exactly what I meant for the ego, because you're becoming an ego personality, an idea in your mind that you think you are, and that idea has principles and other things and likes and dislikes. And if you're developing that way to become a strong ego personality, business owner, whatever you're going to, that'll be okay because it'll be against the principles and ideas that the ego make about itself. But then when you become somebody and you realize that's not it, because you're everyone, I think, but I can talk about myself, have that inner desire to find themselves or to express themselves and find out that after getting to that point, that's not it. And they start going back in the way of becoming nobody and dissolving the ego, then that'll be perfectly okay.
what will be okay.
If that's how things are going, if it's struggle against the ego and it brings up things that points up the ideas that you made up about yourself, is an ego or a mask.
Well, so I guess like for me, I'm trying to understand um because I would like to believe, and maybe this is my ego convincing me that I've dissolved my ego to a degree is dissolving, and yet I inherently am not going to do things that feel icky. So, are you saying that you're feeding your ego by not doing things that feel icky?
I mean, there is a space in between the presence, the observer, the I am presence inside of everyone, which is beyond the mind. It's a one step above because that's the presence that recognizes the thoughts, recognizes the emotions, and all those things. And when that presence starts to become more obvious than the ego, then anything that ego does or the mind gives you, that observer there is just going to see it and say, oh, I see what's going on. It'll be an
Yes.
understanding. And then that'll just dissolve naturally. It won't be a struggle. But then again, it's to get to that point, you have to become somebody. You have to become an ego. You have to have your mind developed in personality or whatever you think or ideas that you have about yourself until you get to a point and you really sit and you say, who am I really? Like, where am I coming from? Am I this body? Am I this emotions? Am I the thoughts? Or what's going on here?
Well, for the listening audience, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm joy. And if it doesn't bring me joy, and if it's pushing against what makes me peaceful, which allows me to experience peace, it's not for me. And whether that's ego or the higher consciousness, don't really care. That's just nature of my human experience at this point in my life.
It's. I was just giving it as an example.
No, no, no. And it's a
It'll.
beautiful example, and I do get it. I really do. Because our ego does dissolve, right? And you and I, from a really high level awareness and consciousness perspective, get like uh once you're aware, you can unintentionally recreate more identities, right? Like the healer, like the person
Yeah.
who's done the work and now I'm a healer, or whatever. Like we fall into a different egoic identity. So in that
Yep.
respect, I totally get it, right? But I also understand that inherently energy is loving. Consciousness itself is pure
Yep.
love, right? It's
Yep.
bliss, it's abundance, um it's grace. And so whether, and this is my work, right? Because I was just telling you earlier, I'm tired, totally an ego thing. But my work for myself is, okay, maybe I'm feeding ego, I don't know, but I am going to feed the ego from a place of the higher consciousness energy, which is love, grace, compassion, and joy. And so I can give grace to an individual, anybody, right? But if being in an experience with them feels icky to me, it's not joy filled, I'm not going to be part of that experience anymore. And whether or not that's my ego or me being driven by higher consciousness, I don't know, but I'm okay with regardless of what it is. I don't need to understand it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had this conversation before, and this is where you have a different experience that I do. I'm sitting in any kind of situations because I like to be present. I don't, and that's why I was going with the emotions earlier, saying that I don't have to like interact with the emotions. I can sit and watch it for what it is. I don't have to try to escape it, change it, change the person on the other side or do anything like it. I just have to be present and honor whatever it's unfolding to unfold the way it's unfolding. And so for a bit of time, there was the knowing that maybe there is only the joy and everything else. But then I come to know that they're the same thing with two different opposite ends, like a magnet, south and north pole. You have to have the joy to, or you have to have the pain to understand the joy. You constantly shift between one and the other, and I'm in a place when I honor both. I don't have to change the one and be in the one more than the other. I just know that, like somebody was saying earlier, this shall pass as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Love it. I love how we it really is a show about everything, nothing, and anything in between.
I
And
know. I
Hazir, I
know.
really appreciate your commenting as well as Gina, because it really makes for a more lively and engaging conversation.
Right. We love you guys. We love to have chats with different people, express having conversations about different topics, express our views, share views with you guys. Um, I always like a good conversation with anybody. Grab a coffee and just have a conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed. Well, with
yeah.
that, I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty solid conversation. I got very little to say.
I mean, like I was saying earlier, you don't always have to say anything in any situation. Sometimes it's just good to be present and just be in the moment.
True.
Um, I was even looking at some people when they talk, they don't respond right away. they might just sit in a little bit and wait for the idea to form in their mind. And they don't have to do the conscious thinking like some people think. You have to go in. If somebody asks you something, you have to give them the information back right away. Sometimes there's no information to come back, and some people call it like a inner knower or downloads, or I'm getting this information from somewhere I didn't know, because you're totally okay with having something going on inside, like the narrator going and blah 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 blah, let's get a sandwich, what are we gonna do after this or whatever. You can just be in quiet and then ideas form. And I don't know if that allows the mind or the brain to activate more, get more in sync with the left or right brain. But it's an experience. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It is. Well, with that, I'm gonna sing and sign off for the day, 'cause hey, it's raining here, and to be honest, dear, I want to go out and play. So see you next week on this show with Yanko. Oh, and this amazing Tracy Kerri. So
And
let's go. Whoa, whoa.
let's go.
I love it.
See, I can always count on you to, like, bring out some good vibes and singing, and bringing a song in the end. For
Absolutely.
Yeah, for
If
first
I'm
time
not
viewers,
singing,
this is something that happens sometimes in the end of our shows. We send
I
you
love
off
it.
with a good song. Yes.
Yep, we do. Or bad song, depends on how you take it. But
Hey.
it brings joy to me, and we're a happy family in this universe of collective consciousness. Say so. See you next week. I'm out.
All right, people. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your energy with us. Thanks for
Yes.
commenting. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Know that you appreciate it. We like sharing energy with you. Join us again if you feel like it. If you don't, that won't hurt our feelings. At least my feelings. So